idea what it was going to be like for a month. So I'm going to cut that story out because I don't want it to be on YouTube for the YouTubers. The people find it difficult, if not impossible, to go outside their comfort zones. We're talking about comfort zones now. Do the ends justify the means? And as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, the answer is yes. Okay, we're not trying to teach you how to be criminals here. Although QLA works very well if you have a criminal mind. In the program Criminal Minds, which is one of my favorites, most of those criminals are following QLA principles. I didn't teach them though. Another one of my favorite programs when I do watch TV is Cold Cases, where they go back 40, 50, 60 years and they find criminals that did bad things. Okay. But comfort zone, when I was a young man and before I had my first Rolls Royce when I was 26 and a half, I went to Rolls Royce dealerships and I used to sit in the Rolls Royces and smell the leather, touch the mahogany in the Rolls Royce, touch the leather. And we used to go to $1 million houses, which in 1971, 72 were big houses for $1 million. I mean, big, huge estates for $1 million. And we used to sit and go, and they used to ask us, well, when are your parents going to get here? No, it's us. It's us. We became comfortable. We used to go to the airport and watch the international flights land at LAX from Paris, from Berlin, from Tokyo, and watch the first class passengers come off the plane. In those days, you used to walk down the ladders, or not the ladders, staircases. And we watched, and in those days, they were all wearing coats and furs and hats, and they'd be dressed up just to see what they looked like. Although I couldn't afford that at the time. I used to go to fine men's clothing places in Beverly Hills, even though I couldn't afford it, because I was getting used to being comfortable with something completely different than from where I was raised. And that's how I learned to expand my comfort zone. But the first thing that expanded my comfort zone was this, when Congress of the United States deemed me an officer and a gentleman by the Act of Congress. Okay? I never even thought about the concept of being a gentleman before that happened on July the 1st, 1967. Nobody ever said, well, he's a real gentleman and a scholar. Nobody talks like that. I don't know if they do now. But it certainly was the first time I ever heard the concept. And just as I said before we turned on the camera, I didn't know how many digits were in $1 million till I was in college. I didn't know it had 7 figures. Because nobody talked about it where I came from. Nobody. Nobody talked about being a millionaire. Nobody. Now everybody and his dog, well, not everybody, almost everybody and his dog, if you own a house, has got $1 million worth of assets just because you got a house that's worth $500,000, $600,000, even if it's a shack. So all these things I had to do to increase my comfort zone. And in the movie Rudy, which we don't look at anymore, this great scene about, and we talked about it yesterday, where he's trying to go to Notre Dame, which is completely outside the comfort zone of his family, and his father is saying, you're a Rudiker. Rudikers don't go to Notre Dame. Rudikers don't play football at Notre Dame. Rudikers work at the steel plant, or whatever the plant is, a steel plant, etc. Well, many of you that are listening to this, you've heard that speech from your parents. And as I said in the first day in the opening remarks, we showed you a clip of an email from one of my mentees that his father was commenting, very much akin to Rudy Rudiker's father in the movie Rudy. Those kind of lifestyles, those kind of ambitions are only for exceptional persons, and you're not one of those exceptional persons. Now, this was an article written many years ago, that's talking about turning 50. Basically it says your body falls to shit when you're 50. And if you allow your body to fall to shit, it does fall to shit when you're 50. But the point is that most of us don't like what we look like. I called this bitch that wrote this article, 26-year-old little girl, and I said, who in the fuck are you to write this article about turning 50 when you're 26? Okay. But the point is that most of us aren't comfortable with why we look, and that's why health pills, diets, the insanity program, you know, for getting ripped, and, yeah, are all so damn popular because we don't like the way we look. We don't like the way, you know, the cut of our own chin, etc. If you read this article, it basically says every single thing about our bodies falls to shit at 50. Well, having been almost 20 years past 50, it can fall to shit unless you exercise, okay? But bald head, limp dick, I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, okay? That's why they sell so much Viagra, I'm told. But if we're not happy with ourselves as an individual, if we don't like the way we look, I mean, it's more difficult to do these things. And for those of you that are on the internet and are selling health products, anti-aging products, diet products, and all those other products, there's a reason that they're so popular. And there's a reason why so many, countless tens of thousands, if not millions of people buy it. And there's also a reason why there's so much competition in that area. Because there are tens of millions of people that are clicking, you know, and going to your AdWords and your pay-per-click, and why SEO, search engine optimization, tries to get you high on the page, etc., etc. There's a reason. Now, this is the lady that swam from Cuba to Florida, 64 I think she was, Deanna Nyad, who you can't tell her that she's old, okay? She dispelled those myths. It took her 35 years. Some of you people that are coming here late in life need to dispel the myths that we've talked about the last 2 days. Some of the people that are watching on YouTube need to dispel those myths. But remember, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with most. And for the most part, almost 100% of the people that are on the Hall of Fame that are behind the camera are people that were able to break free of those myths. As Diane Nyad, the lady that swam that channel between Cuba and Florida, said, "Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Never give up on your dream. The moment you're ready to quit is usually the moment before the miracle happens. Happiness is a way of life. It always darkest before the dawn." In your weekly reports, you're going to share with me some of your challenges. Hopefully all your challenges. And I will, from week to week, tweak, help you get through those things. And are there any questions on anything that we've covered so far today? Oh, I'm going to show this one too. Okay. For the YouTube, zoom in on this. When you turn 50, 60, and 70, your body falls to shit. This is an old man measuring his wife's breasts over the years. Okay. 1954, they were up here. 1964, they were up here. 1974, 1984, 1994, and 2004. This is life. Okay? And she doesn't look that happy. Next, when I asked, what's the best way for birth control after 50? She said nudity is the best thing. Then, now, he says, I'll be back, Arnie. Oh, my back. Arnie, that was last year, and this was when he was 23 or 24. Aging. It's a bitch. And then Arnie says, is that Justin Bieber? Yeah. He says, when Justin Bieber showed his muscle, Arnie says, are you fucking kidding me? Okay. That's it for today. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the morning, YouTubers.